The Torah mentions the digestive system of the land of Israel, that if the Jews don't behave themselves, they get spit out of the land. And that's kind of a strange thing. You know, other countries in the world don't necessarily spit out their people, but Israel does, meaning it either digests you and integrates you, or it spits you out. And obviously the goal is that we would be digested. And it makes me think a little bit about what we go through in the land of Israel and how much of our very shaky grasp on the land, and even in the eyes of the Gentiles, of how much they feel we deserve it versus the other people who dwell in this country, that how much of that has to do with the fact that we're not really being integrated inside the land, because so many people in the land of Israel are ignoring the laws of the Torah. But again, you know, there's a bigger picture, and we don't have to get into like what exactly is happening historically that we are in a position where so many people are not keeping the Torah. Now, this digestive system of the land of Israel, of whether it digests us or spits us out, is an amazing thing, because we have the spies who came to the land of Israel. And when the spies came into the land, one of the reports they gave coming back to Moses in the desert was that it's an Eretz Ochelet Yoshvea, which means a land that devours its inhabitants. It's the way Art Scroll says it, devours the inhabitants, but it's not actually the words. It just says it's a land that eats its inhabitants. And Rabbi Nachman of Breslov actually says that this isn't a bad thing, but it's actually a good thing. Well, it could be a good thing. And what is that? It's that the land, with its digestive system, either digests you and you become now assimilated into the land of Israel. In other words, assimilated into the Emunah that Israel is all about, and assimilated into the Kedusha and the holiness of Israel. Either that happens, or, God forbid, then you get spit out. So you'll notice that, and I've noticed over the years, that people who visit Israel, many of them get, like, Israel gets a taste of them. It's, you know, it's like licking their toes. You know, they're somehow, while they're in Israel, they just keep getting more and more digested. You know, so now that it's like digested their feet, now it's digesting their legs, and they're slowly getting digested. And what I've seen over the years is that someone will leave Israel, meaning they'll finish their trip, they fly back to America, they're never the same again. They suddenly, like, their hometown no longer feels like it's home. They love their families, they love, you know, their local, you know, favorite spots, but it doesn't feel like home anymore. Like, suddenly their own hometown has become it's become like a foreign place, and that Israel is home, and they never seem to get over it. And so I'll meet these people sometimes. I'll be traveling in the U.S. or wherever I am, and they'll say, you know, I met you in Israel, whatever, and I've just never been the same ever since. And I said, yeah, that's because Israel digested you. You've been digested by Israel, and you do really, that is home. And it's, you know, the only way you'll ever be at peace is in the land of Israel. And it really is it really is that way. Meaning, even though we're not in a period of time with the temple, and we're not in a period of time with you know, the Torah being the law of the land, even though we're not there yet, nevertheless, the land has this powerful effect on people. Now, there are 3 reasons you're allowed to leave Israel, and those 3 barely exist anymore, but one of them is to make a living, and you can certainly make a living in Israel, and the other is to find a wife, and you can certainly find a wife or a husband in Israel. In fact, it's probably a higher chance for most people to find a spouse here, and meaning a Jewish spouse. And the third is that you're allowed to go out for a livelihood, and I'm sorry, I mentioned a livelihood, my bad. It was, for Torah study, to, you know, go to be by a teacher of Torah. But of course, the teachers of Torah, the greatest teachers of Torah in the world, are in Israel. There's a 4th option, though, and that 4th option is to redeem the to redeem someone who's been captured. So a person who's been kidnapped, you're allowed to redeem. So it's actually brought down that one of the ways that you redeem a person who's kidnapped, one of the types of kidnapping isn't the kidnapping of, it's not the kidnapping of a, like a normal kidnapping, for example, what's going on in Gaza right now, but the kidnapping of someone's mind, meaning someone who is in a position where the environment they're in and their upbringing is not a Torah upbringing. So that person is that person's in a situation where they are they're lost ultimately, because they are not at all aligned with their deeper purpose as a soul, the deeper overall alignment of the Jewish people's destiny. That's called a kidnapped person. So if you have any influence on such a person, if you're able to influence them in any way whatsoever, so then you've earned your keep for being outside of Israel. Now, sometimes I leave Israel for reasons other than redeeming the kidnapped, but I always make sure that I have in mind the kidnapped, and when I get there, I always will find some estranged Jew and teach them some Torah so that I can at least, be outside of Israel. Now, if you leave for those reasons, you don't actually leave. If you leave for one of the reasons you're allowed to leave, you didn't actually leave. Anyway, blessing everybody to be digested by the land of Israel fully.